Can you imagine the cheek streaks in the bottom of that glass ball, man?
Jesus, man. Can you not have me think about that shit? Come on, dude.
Hey, Indigo made the beat.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and with me today, I have a wonderful crew of three. Now, I hope you don't mind. I missed the joke. I'm sorry.
Because it
3 plus
funny.
1.
Anyway.
It wasn't funny. That's why you missed it.
It's like, I have a crew of three. I plus 3.
You really going to make me do math right now? Come on.
Let's continue.
Don't mind if this podcast is a little wandering, much like the narrative. We're going to talk about Sandman, because I didn't do any prep work. That's okay, right? So let us meet our group of...
Plus 2.
Let me start with Mookie. How you doing, Mookie? Hey, Brooks. How you doing?
Great. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Happy to be here.
Oh, glad to hear it. And Bang Bang James, how you doing?
Better than your Chicago Bears.
Wow.
I can tell you that.
Hey. Woke up and chose violence today.
We beat the Kansas City Chiefs in a single preseason match, even though our starters didn't score any points. How much better can I feel about this season, right? Right. Yeah, exactly. And speaking about... Actually, I don't even know how the Indianapolis Colts did. Mike, how did the Indianapolis Colts do?
I have no idea. I don't watch preseason stuff. That's for amateurs.
You can still tie your bandwagon to the Giants.
Yeah, I guess. So...
Oh, what jersey is he wearing? What jersey is he wearing? Don't tell me
Rams.
Looks like Rams, yeah.
Rams, yeah.
Rams lost. Rams did lose. Didn't the Rams lose to the Raiders?
No, the Rams and the Raiders play December 8th.
Rams just beat the Chargers.
Another preseason. Okay, it was the Chargers. That's why the yellow and blue was tossing me.
Never confuse the Rams, the Chargers, and the Raiders, Chris. Come on.
Yeah.
That's right. The Chargers are the losers. The Rams are the winners in this scenario, actually.
Yes, that's better.
All right. Anyway, so in this podcast where we talk about entertainment and opinions and shit, we're going to start. We're not going to talk about preseason football because Mike's right. Nobody really cares. It doesn't really mean anything, and it won't go anywhere. So we are going to talk about. We're going to watch and talk about the Cobra Kai trailer. What's it, Season 5? Season 5 trailer?
Yep.
And then we are going to talk about the one and only Sandman series over on Netflix. That should be a fun discussion when we get to it.
Interesting show.
We are going to go right into Cobra Kai.
All right.
Don't sound too excited, Mike. Please don't sound too excited.
What about Sandman?
Just life in general, Mike.
Oh, I thought you were talking. You were excited about our show.
No. I just said, you said Sandman. I said, yeah, very interesting show. That's all.
Man, we are firing all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
We are. We're kicking ass tonight.
That's right.
All right.
Can I play
Mike,
this? Can I play the trailer?
Let's go watch some Cobra
Or are we going to
Kai.
talk fake football for another 10 minutes?
Let's go.
Wow, don't get mad because you live in Canada. It's not our fault.
What do you mean it's not your fault? All right, here we go.
Hey, the only game we're going to win the first half.
And here we go.
This is what we're up against. This is how
Fire.
everyone sees him. As some kind of philanthropist out to save the kids of the valley. Terry Silver.
Terry Silver's back.
Why you guys
It's
Philanthropist.
Whatever.
I can't even say the word.
Yo, I love what he
The
did.
van.
Did you see what he did to the van? The side painting?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I like that he has a tape
I'm
deck.
shutting down
Eagle
the
Fang.
This can't be your plan.
With Johnny gone, it's on me to fix this.
Gotta shut down
One star is a car
Miyagi
smell
now.
like beer. It's because there is beer, asshole.
I know. Complimentary beer, my Uber.
Damn, Cobra Kai is in the
Perfect for James.
modern age now. Look at that.
That means we'll need more senseis.
Yeah, it's nice looking.
Jeff
I might send my
Bezos.
kids there.
So who is she supposed to be?
Everything was supposed to be better after the tournament.
I think she's a new character.
I wonder if she's related to Chosen though.
Things can start out from nothing and get bigger and bigger
No.
until all you feel
You don't
is
think
hate.
so?
No.
I think there's this.
Come on. There's two
We're all friends now.
We're not friends.
in the nose.
So I don't get like
Maybe.
they're hanging out in Mexico like it's on vacation.
Right, because he went to go find him, right?
Oh,
At the
they're
end of the war.
fighting.
Yeah.
So much dividing and conquering.
If this continues, all that we have fought for will not even be memory.
There's my
I
man.
need you to see which of my students are ready to take the next step.
You really won't stop.
You need to let me and Chosen handle this. It's the only way to make it all end.
Fine. Handle it.
Yeah, I have a feeling that woman is related to Chosen somehow.
get our hands dirty.
If you continue down
Dude, if it is, that's weak writing there.
I know, but I wouldn't be surprised.
It's all kind of cheesy anyway, so I might as well go
that's
for
what I
a-
mean.
Adult
Yeah.
classes are all
And this
relation.
dude that gets his back.
Take a lesson. We're here to teach you one.
I'm here to give it.
No, not this guy. The guy from Karate Kid 3. What's his name?
3.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Forgot his name.
Yeah,
Not Billy.
I saw a picture of him somewhere, like when they were talking about Cobra Kai. So
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah,
you
but he
know well
seemed
with the others.
taller.
Yeah, well, I make friends
seen
pretty
what?
easily.
What?
I find
He's
that
in
a little
prison?
kindness
Yeah, he's
goes
back.
a long way.
You know, the only thing that makes me sad from this trailer is the lack of Hawk representation.
Yeah, he was like in
Like,
it like
Hawk
one
really-
little part.
Yeah, he was like getting to be one of my favorite characters, and then they're like,
He's
he's
still
not
around,
there.
right?
It's just a first trailer.
yeah, he's
it's just
still
a
around.
teaser.
So
Yeah, it's just a teaser.
I
By the way,
don't
Mike,
know.
you're thinking
I just-
of Mike. You're thinking of Mike Barnes
Mike
when you saw
Barnes, that's
that
the
blonde, platinum blonde guy.
yeah,
Yeah, but I remember him being taller than. Maybe they're just showing it,
I think
from the back.
yeah, it could be. So, but he's teach me how to sweep the leg guy. Remember?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good.
No,
It
he
looks-
was the champion, right? Like,
He was right. He
He was a
Like-
champion in the third movie.
yeah.
yeah, okay.
So
I'm waiting for what's her name? The next Karate Kid. What's
Hillary Swank.
oh
Oh
damn.
yeah.
Hilary
That
Swank?
would be
got
something.
That's
they
gotta
gotta
be
get
the
some
final
Hilary Swank in
season.
there.
That's gotta be the final season where they bring them all together.
After Daniel and Chosen
they can-
and Johnny all get their ass kicked, she come busting through the door with that flying spin kick
That's right.
Miyagi taught her.
Right.
The Chun-Li kick.
And then season 6 is Jackie Chan.
No. Then they have to CGI
Jackie-
Miyagi.
Oh
and-
no.
They have to
and
CGI
Jalen
Miyagi.
He's a Force ghost.
Force Ghost.
He's a
I
Force
hope that does
Ghost.
not happen. That would be horrible.
That'd be on the nose
Jackie
too. That'd
Chan.
be perfect for the
I
show.
know.
I hope what's her name? That Sam LaRusso. I hope she gets her ass kicked again.
She probably will.
She's annoying.
Probably will.
They should leave
No,
her ass in
look,
Mexico.
No, they're making the boys fight over her again.
That's annoying too.
Aw,
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And then what's the
Yeah.
other girl?
I do like those two. I do like those two being at each other's throats. So they're better when they're on
Samantha
opposite
and the
sides.
Cobra Kai girl. I forgot her name. Yeah,
No,
she
not
looks,
those
looks like
two. I
they're
was
teaching her. It looks like they're about to teach her some better styles, like the Asian girl who Mike thinks is the sister of Chosen, or related to
I
Chosen.
think
Looks like she's gonna,
yeah.
or a relative.
Yeah, I think-
She's gonna focus in on her.
Here's what
Make
I'm
it even better.
predicting.
Mhm.
I think she's the niece, like Chosen was the nephew of
Nephew,
the other guy.
Miyagi's dad,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or not dad.
Yeah,
The guy that-
I can see
yeah.
that going.
All right, that's good. I'm excited.
Excellent.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm very
September 9th coming out.
9th.
Yep.
Wow, that's right around the corner. Shit.
It looks like they're holding strong. Like, one of the problems I've had with a lot of the Disney shows is they haven't like held strong on their tone and their story. And it looks like Cobra Kai is like, no, this is how we're doing it. These are our characters.
Yeah, you
Shit's
gotta
not
give
changing.
them. You gotta give them marks for consistency. Like it's been consistently
I haven't
equal amount cheese and equal amount funny and action. You know what I mean? So
and drama.
The-
Yeah.
They have their lane, they know it, and they're sticking to it. They're not
exactly.
trying anything new.
Yeah, it wasn't like
And I'm good with that.
Daniel. What's his? Oh God, why can't I? Or Machio came in and said, "This is gonna be my Oscar-winning performance piece." You know?
That's right.
Yeah. He didn't come out and say, this is for family.
Right.
This is for family. I'm waiting for the episode where he drops to his knees and screams, Miyagi!
Miyagi!
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Cool.
All right. Well, looks like we're pretty excited. We'll be back for that when it lands. And Netflix, we know they drop them all. Maybe we don't have to wait. Which
Binge that sucker.
Definitely.
Which I'm gonna
Definitely
say
gonna
is
be
really
binge-worthy.
helping this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So why don't we take a break? When we come back, we're going to talk about Neil Gaiman's Sandman.
It's so woke, man.
Stop it.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And here is me, Mike, James, and we're here to talk about Sandman, the 2022 Netflix series, one season only. We are talking about, let's see here, 10 episodes. We're going to do the whole thing. No spoilers all the way through. So if you have not seen it,
One
and
cut,
trust me,
one
even
take.
with spoilers, we probably can't spoil anything because you're going to go, what the fuck are they talking about? And you won't understand it till you actually see it or read it. Read it because this was originally a 1989 comic series published by DC Comics, written by one Neil Gaiman, as you will hear. Neil Gaiman is a prolific writer. You've also seen his work on Good Omens, which
Love
has
that
also
show.
been converted into a great show.
Yeah.
American Gods,
Yeah.
which
Heard about it.
these guys keep telling me not to watch. And even
Don't watch that.
And even Lucifer. Lucifer is the long-running. Actually, it's related to Sandman because the same character, Lucifer,
It's the same universe.
is this
Yeah.
same Lucifer.
Right.
Believe it or not, because those characters are nothing alike right now.
It would have been
But
really
there's a
cool
reason
if they
for
had
that.
gotten him to come on into this show, but I'm okay with who they picked.
I think,
Yeah.
when we get towards those episodes, we'll talk about those changes. One thing to know, if you have read the book, I have not, unfortunately. I have 3 of these. I have not gotten to read them. I know I'm only 30 years late. But what I do know of it is they have changed quite a bit of it. Obviously, whenever you convert something from a written text or comic book to television, even television series, which is 10 hours of television, 9 hours of television, you're going to have some changes. But there's some big changes that have caused some talking, and it's usually, as always, with our culture, it's around race and gender are usually the biggest talking points. But there's also quite a few story points and characterizations that have changed. One thing I noticed as I've thumbed through these things a dozen times, and one thing you will notice is that DC comic characters, like Edgerton here, show up quite a bit in these, and that's because these were originally a DC comic, and things like Arkham Asylum are a big deal and talked about and mentioned and exist. John Constantine, which we do see in the series, is in this. So that kind of like this thing lives in the DC universe, which is kind of weird. I spent about half an hour today. I listened to an audio, a half an hour audio clip of the Death character, her meeting with Dream. Rather quite shockingly different. So, why don't we start here? Because
I just want to add real quick. Like one thing I do think that DC does well is their DC Dark lineup with John Constantine and all those characters. So The animations.
Yeah, their animated stuff is
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm. So keep up the good work there, DC. Now
those have always been.
Bring it over to the EU, and you'll be fine.
I hope Discovery doesn't destroy them though.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good
canceled.
Point. That's right, canceled.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no choice.
Knock that shit off.
Okay, so why don't we start? This is kind of a wandering narrative, so we're gonna try to go by the clumps of narrative within the season and talk about them, and then we'll go that way, and we'll cover things like storylines, acting, CGI, whatever, as it pertains to those pieces that we're talking about. How about that, guys? Sound okay?
Sounds great.
All right. So this story revolves around this guy, Dream of the Endless, and the Endless is a race. I don't know. It's a group of concepts made into physical forms. So you got dream, desire, despair, death, and they all have to they have a job. And Dream specifically runs the dream realm, and he has to, when everybody falls asleep, dreams, nightmares, the whole shebang, and everything runs fine until he is captured by a human and who is trying to capture Death to get his son back, and is captured for 100 years and causes a whole cascade of issues, which is how our whole series starts. And it is kind of the one thread that for the most part covers the season, even if sometimes a bit thin, even if that thread's just a little thin. So why don't we start with episode 1? So episode 1 is where Dream, trying to grab an escaped nightmare, the Corinthian, who is basically a mass murderer, pretty awesome character, and I don't have the actors' names in front of me. I'm sorry, I should have.
That's fine. You would destroy their names anyway. That's okay.
I'm sure I would. So here, Dream gets summoned accidentally. He gets captured. He's in a glass bubble. And our entire first episode is around this human trying to get Dream to give him something for his freedom. And Dream, being an emo boy, doesn't want to even speak to him. Doesn't even want to speak to him. Boy. He sits naked. Yeah, he sits naked in a glass ball for 100 years rather than even attempt to escape. All right, what did we think of this opening, this kind of where we have this protagonist who is just not doing anything. He's just sitting there being giving looks and being all kind of tucked around himself and pale as all hell. It was such a weird way to try to grab an audience. What did you guys think of how they handled this whole first part of the story? And the characters, the actors, however you want to talk about it. I'm going to let Mike go first.
Yeah, so definitely a weird intro to the character. I haven't read the series either, so this was kind of new. This was new to me. I've heard of it, but I never read it. So, but the whole first episode, him being trapped, and I was like, I hope it's... I was gonna be a little disappointed if it was gonna be about the old man and the son being the main for the entire season, but luckily it worked out that wasn't the case. So, but very well. The sets were beautiful, well acted, well performed, and so that's what kind of drew me into that world there. So.
James?
I really like the, again, I know we just came from The Prey, and everybody was touting the cinematography except the books. I thought this show
with Chris
with a better...
100%, by the way.
Yeah, you go jump on that bandwagon. And Tony, Gong, who one of our subscribers
Yeah, I
left a
saw
comment.
that.
Thank you for leaving a comment, and yes, I will fight that hill, Bunker Hill. I actually did like the set that they showed. Yeah, you could definitely see some of the CGI, but I really was mesmerized with the first episode on what I was able to see come on screen. The plot and writing itself did hit me in the first episode, but I did like the set stage and the world building that they were doing with the characters. I thought that looked pretty good, pretty nice on screen. The music was probably passable, but that to me engaged me in the first episode before the next episodes got me an actual story, and obviously the acting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought our main Tom Sturridge. Yeah, you're right. I did screw up his name. Whose face seems to have been genetically made to be this comic book character. I swear, this guy is like the weirdest friggin' jawline I've ever seen. But like he just really covers the part. But also the voice. You know, for all whatever the music, the voice, whatever ADR or adjustments they made, really kind of gave him this ethereal yet deep, commanding voice, which, as he narrated over the top,
I agree.
really kind of held your attention. Other than that, I think good job by I don't know why I can't find the actor's name. I've seen him in a million things. He's a great actor. He plays the old
The father
wizard,
and the first.
The father, who's like
he's
abusing his younger son, and you're like, okay, so the younger son's gonna get him out, and then like you finally, it moves okay at a decent clip, you know, as they introduce characters, and you get to meet the Corinthian, and the Corinthian pops in and out, and you're like, okay, oh, so he's gonna get out now. He's dead. Oh no, he's not gonna get out. He's gonna. And so there was a little bit of yada yada while this is taking a little bit, but I was like willing to give it that space, going, okay, you're setting up his tools or his magic items have all been stolen. I see where we're going. We're about to go on a giant fetch quest. I'm down with it. Magic fetch quest. Let's go.
By the way, you're talking about. So then Charles,
we go.
You're talking about Charles Dance, the father.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who played?
Thank you. Yes.
Who was also another dickhead father from Game of Thrones, Tywin Lannister. So that's
and also the dickhead vampire. From Dracula Begins.
So as soon as I saw my screen, I was like, yeah, he's not a good dad.
Yeah, he's not giving in.
Mm-hmm.
And he held out to the end. So yeah, I thought overall very, very well, even if not exciting, a kind of a base. It was like very much a base layer, like someone laying.
You and I agree so far. You and I agree.
All right. So we're gonna move over to episode 2 here, and this is where we start a little fetch quest, and where we start to meet more variety of characters. So we get this. Let's see here. The perfect house here. So he has to go find his sand first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we go back to the dreaming. We get to learn a little bit about the dreaming. His librarian's an interesting character.
Right.
We meet we spend a little time with Cain and Abel for some reason. we meet and we sacrifice a.
By the way, but before one thing that I did want to mention just real quick on episode 1, the scene where his first Raven gets killed to me set a dark tone.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is not going to be a silly CW-ish type of magical show. This is going to be an adult themed show as well. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry to.
Yeah. So he's. That's a good call though. That was probably the best scene in that episode. That was the best. It gave him something to act against. You know, you could actually see some emotion in his face. It was some good work. So this is just kind of getting to know Dream a little bit, getting to know his world a little bit, and get some cool effects. How he's able to take the dragon or whatever it's the gargoyle he's able to take that into himself and gain some power. It's the cool lake scene where he's walking down into the lake. So some really cool kind of getting you into how big this world is. Like it's not you're not just going to spend, a season inside a house inside of a bubble or anything like that. We're getting big. We're going big. What did you guys feel about this episode too?
I definitely saw, going back to what I said in episode 1, the plot started to maybe coalesce a little bit better in the first episode, but these scenes of when you see the opening castle and how it's like how it degraded because of his absence, to me hit me hard. And then when the Corinthian was having a dialogue with the other person on the beach, and it felt like I was in another place, on another realm. Again, I'm not going to say this show was by far the best cinematic piece of work I've seen this year.
Prey was
but
the
those
best,
first,
right?
Oh, whatever, get out of here. But those first 2 episodes made me feel like, okay, somebody creative is really behind this show. Creative as far as, and I don't read the comics. I have no idea. Maybe they're taking it directly off the splash page and they're just, creating it. But to me, this is something brand new that I haven't seen, and all the type of sci-fi and like supernatural shows. To me, that second episode really took the first episode to another level of cinematography.
Yeah, and we also get to, we come into the modern age, so this is set in basically 2020 something, as opposed to the comic, which is set in the 89 basically when it's written. So they kind of fudge those numbers a bit, and that kind of pushes some of the narrative. But I'm glad they did. Like if this set was set in 89, this would it would change quite a bit about what we're seeing, and we'd be like, I think that kind of makes it. But when Buffalo, New York popped on the screen, I was like, oh, they're close.
Oh my god!
Holy
really?
Shit, what's going down?
That's the scene?
No, but we meet the magician's ex-girlfriend, the one who ran away with all of his stuff, and we find out that she basically got rid of, sold off, used, and hid
some of the
different
totems,
pieces.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But what I liked here is we got to see magic that wasn't dreams. So she had this cool little demon thing that she had traded his mask for that protected her. And so when like the Corinthian was like, I'm just going to take shit from you, she was like, no, you're not doing anything. And so that was a fun little scene. And, it upped every time you see this Corinthian guy, you're upping his creepy factor, and which is good. He's probably the most consistent, interesting character throughout the series to me.
Right.
What did you guys think of him overall, especially with like his teeth eyeballs?
Oh yeah, those were wild. Yeah, that's like I was saying. Like he was one of the characters in this episode, in episode 2, that kind of drew me in as well, because I wanted to see where he was going, what he was trying to accomplish, right?
Right.
And then through his arc through the season, like he just seemed to me, it just kept getting darker and darker. Like,
he's a good character.
Yeah,
and he's been around for a lot of different things. From the first time he was on a Netflix Narcos show. Then he was on Logan, and he's been around a while.
That's right. I remember him from Logan, right? Mm-hmm. So,
did we get to the Constantine daughter yet?
Joanna?
No.
Yeah, was that this episode?
No.
Oh my god!
I think she was in
you mentioned
like
Buffalo.
5 minutes.
I thought she was in the same episode with Buffalo. But go ahead.
Yeah, she was in it for like 5 minutes.
Did like maybe we see her? Okay. All right, so yeah, I guess we did see her here. Like we introduced to her, like she had a dream or something.
Yes, she did. She had a dream of a girl in a club scene with I guess the girl's dad. Yeah, it was here.
So just a note about the Joanna Constantine character. So that is people were basically yelling about a gender swap when I guess what happens is right now because of DC contract.
Yeah, it's all licensed.
No, because of a license or contract, they could not use John Constantine. And so they switched over to Joanna, who's actually another character. It is a completely separate character than John. that does exist prior to it.
That's
She's
why they
just
also
normally
yeah.
in an older character.
That's why she was pronouncing it Constantine too.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that was weird. Constantine. I caught that.
Yeah.
I caught that.
Just a little thing, but you explain this to the toxic people.
Shit.
You explain to toxic people like, it's a licensing thing. They couldn't do it. I don't care. They should have done it anyway.
The show's too woke.
Right.
Yeah,
Show
man.
too woke.
Forget it. Forget this nonsense.
Man, if there's anything not woke, it's this, right? All right. So let's jump to episode 3. So we did meet in the last episode, and it kind of spills over to this one. Is we meet the God of War. No, wait, that's not what's his name.
No.
It's
God of War.
No, it's David Thewlis. Yeah, from Wonder Woman. Sorry, it's David Thewlis.
Oh yes, he plays the older version of the son.
Right. John D. Yeah.
He's played in other things too. Give the guy some respect.
He was Professor Lupin, man. Professor Lupin. Anyway,
that's right.
A joke that didn't go. No, David Thewlis is great. He's a great actor, and he plays the older son, this woman who looks younger than him, but he's actually her son, and he's in an asylum. Like I probably am assuming he was probably in Arkham in the book would be my guess.
Yeah,
because they mention Arkham in the book.
Is this the diner episode?
No.
No.
That's too
We're
early.
not there
Too early.
yet.
Okay.
Not there yet.
Too early.
That's when the show really got me.
This is just when Mom comes to visit him, right?
Yeah, Mom comes to visit him, and we kind of learn that what she was doing with all of the stuff. So we also have more Joanna Constantine in this one. It's kind of throwing me off here. And she gets called to a church to do an exorcism of a footy player, which was a fun little scene.
Funny, yeah.
Yeah. She's. I like the Constantine, the John Constantine character, and they seem to have kept a lot of his
quirkiness,
stuff within her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The I don't give a shit, just pay me kind of stuff, and bad dates, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
So, and this is where we meet Michael. Is that Matthew, the Raven, played by obviously.
What's his name? Oswald.
Patton Oswalt, yeah.
So Patton Oswalt
himself.
Thank you.
In the most obvious voice acting of the entire series. Like, I could not stop just hearing Patton Oswalt. And I know it's not his fault. He's got an interesting voice.
Yeah.
But it's like...
Although Mark Hamill did give him a close second.
But you thought, Chris, that his voice didn't work for the role, you were saying?
I kind of got into him a little bit later, and I was like, I understand where he's... The character's taking that, but... It's just so obvious. It's hard. It's like a lot of these celebrity voice acting things where you're like, oh, that's The Rock as a dog. Like, you're not fooling me, man. Like, I don't think that's a new character.
Right.
I know what Chris Rock sounds like when he's voicing something. And this is where we start getting some of this and some of the stuff that kind of threw me off watching the series. And that's where other stuff happens and then Dream kind of walks in at the end. So in this specific case, Joanna knows where the sand is, and it's at her girlfriend's place, or like her ex-girlfriend's place. And then there's this whole scene about her going in and then like reigniting the fire, but they don't really ignite the fire. She's actually in a dream, like captured in a dream state with the thing. And there's a lot that happens without our main character. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's an interesting storytelling method that maybe I just wasn't prepared for in getting into this. What did you guys think as we start getting more and more of these episodes where Dream is rather passive compared to what's happening?
I think for me,
Anybody have
it
thoughts?
made me more interested in the other characters, which was perfectly fine. I didn't relate with Dream in the first episode. I surely didn't relate with him in the second episode.
You've never
And
been trapped naked in a glass ball?
No, oh dear God, no. But as the show kept going on, I found other characters
Can you
that
imagine the cheek streaks in the bottom of that glass ball, man?
Jesus, man, can you not have me think about that shit? Come on, dude.
We're gonna need.
I guess they don't defecate or pee or eat because he was in there for 100 years and didn't even
do you
flatulate.
think they had someone go under there and clean it?
I mean, was he breathing? Was he farting? Like, who knows? We're so off topic. I think a lot of the other characters were, to me, I found more interesting, and I was fine with that. Like, I wasn't focusing on his dry character or his emo character. I was focusing on the Constantine lady, Joanna. I was focusing on Patton Oswalt's character. I was focusing on the tertiary characters that were moving the story along. Because there's a lot that was happening by episode 3, which kept me engaged in the show. But besides the fact that there was the main protagonist wasn't, that, in my opinion, wasn't really that engaging. Everyone else was, so I was still content with the episode.
Yeah, I'm pretty much. I agree with James was saying that. Like, to me, the best episodes didn't really have Dream in them, or he was just there, standing there.
And and let's be honest, he probably wasn't even a top 5 best character in the show when you look at the entire show.
Basically.
Yeah.
I probably agree with that. So we do get a little bit of the escape of David Thewlis, and of course the Corinthian just happens to be there to give him his coat.
Mm-hmm.
So that guy's everywhere. Like, I don't know if he's got magic powers. They didn't seem like he does, but he also is everywhere where he wants to be. So, all right, let's move on. Episode 4 here. I got my episode list here. See here. Oh, okay.
We're in episode 4.
This one's real interesting though. This is Dream visits Hell. So he now gets his sand back, and he has to kill Constantine's girlfriend, and we're done. It's not really a difficult task per se, getting his stuff back. But this one is probably his hardest task, and that is his mask is in hell. Some demon has it because he had traded it for that
This is a good episode. This is a good episode.
So this is and I got a pretty big couple of questions for you guys. Number 1, so we meet a character called Nada, and she is a past love of Morpheus, or the Sandman, from 10,000 years ago, and she's trapped in hell because apparently he put her there because he was pissed, even though he still loves her. And man, that is some shit.
Well, like a true ancient god, like all the Greek stories we read and Roman stories.
But what's truly interesting to me, is that he appears to her differently than he appears to everyone else. Mm-hmm. And the idea that this being appears to people in different ways, but he never does it again. No one ever sees him look differently than we see.
Well, hold on. When he met the guy that he had spent every 100 years,
he
grew his hair. He had the long hair at one point instead of the spiky emo hair.
That's not like as.
You're right. It wasn't as drastic as him being a black man. Yeah.
It just was interesting because I've heard this, like, he can. Different people see him as different things, but he never does it again.
But what was funny is the actor playing him as a black man still did the pouchy, duck face, moody way of talking. I noticed it immediately. Right. I was like, "Oh, that's him." Because the way he was talking to her, yeah. He goes, "I still won't forgive you." I was like, "Damn, good job."
Right. That's some next level pettiness. Next level pettiness, man.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll learn more about that in the next season.
I also like the depiction of hell. By the way, I don't know.
I really like that.
Oh yeah, no, go for it. Go for it.
and that whole.
What specifically did you like?
I like the idea that you create your own hell. You're carrying your own fire.
Mhm.
It's not just like you're in the middle of Tartarus or whatever. That it's specific to you, and then it's like never ending. Like you see, it just goes on and on and on. I like that concept of it. I don't think I've ever seen anything else. So that to me was again cool shit. Like brand new idea of something that's creative. I like it.
Yeah.
And then go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, this is right up my alley. Like, I'm an atheist, but I love like heaven, hell, war
love
stories,
hell.
like the prophecy.
Mike loves
like
hell.
The prophecy.
I love that. I love how he goes, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in any of this shit. But
Yeah, I
you
don't
create
believe in
something
any
that
of it.
looks great.
But it's fucking amazing fiction.
Right.
So,
Oh my
like
God.
movies like
Please
The
don't
Prophecy,
strike me.
where Christopher Walken came down and they were trying to fight. Gabriel was trying to take over, all that stuff. And like, I love this version of hell, and I mean, just the whole thing with the with the endless and all these different realms, and then God.
And then this
God
realm,
is somewhere, but God is somewhere here. We
Yeah,
don't know.
and I also understand like MCU does this too. Like each person has almost ultimate power in their realm.
Right.
So as powerful as Dream is, he needs permission to be in her realm because it's her realm. I mean, she's like all powerful in her realm. You know?
And he specifically says, like, the Endless are powerful, but none of us are near the power of Lucifer. Like, they are just that much level. They're a level up.
Yeah,
definitely
exactly.
level up.
Because
from
remember
the
where
Endless.
Lucifer is coming from, right? So, and then the whole battle at the end, I thought was cool visually.
Oh, let's get to that. Yeah, let's get to that.
All right, let's talk about Lucifer themselves. So played by here by Gwendolyn Christie. Again, caused some chatter, but it doesn't matter. I'm sure David Bowie would have been more than happy to have Gwendolyn Christie pick up the mantle.
I believe I might be of service.
Plus, I don't know if you saw any behind the scenes. Gwendolyn Christie's a tall woman, but she was wearing like these 6-inch platforms. Yep. And I loved how they had her in those giant robes, and she was just so intimidating and had so much presence.
And the wings.
Just the wings, the stature, the big giant shoulder pads on everything. I think the look was awesome. That's what I'm saying.
So, right off the bat, I'm going to say redemption for Captain Phasma in Lucifer.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
Yo,
I think, Mike, you watched the show.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, they should have put a
Lucifer.
silver helmet in the corner.
Nice, stop.
No.
You watched the
Lucifer's
show,
a great
Lucifer.
show.
Yeah.
Did you see the connections between how she had her number 2 with the half kind of messed up face, just like in the show?
They're the same character. They're
yeah.
Jazz,
something like, you know what I'm talking about.
Something like
I saw the connection immediately between the show and these two. So let's get to that battle.
We're going to get to the battle. So what happens here is, in order to get his thing back from a demon, he challenges the demon to a battle, which is like a weird battle of the mind, almost like a wizard battle, where they shapeshift sort of, and they try to one up each other.
Before that, he chooses a champion.
Ever. What?
Yeah. He chooses his champion first.
Right,
so even before you knew what kind of game they're about to do, he obviously Dream represents himself.
Yeah.
Because he feels like, he's himself.
Dude, Dream should have been like, I choose
Lucifer.
God.
Gotcha.
I choose God.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it was weird though.
Yeah.
So
where's Michael?
Somebody explained to me. Okay, she picked something like I'm just gonna skip ahead to the last 2 moves. Like it was kind of like a chess match, right? So
yeah.
What did she? I forgot what she picked.
Yeah, wolf, snake.
Yeah.
So she picked bacteria.
Anti-life,
right?
Well, yeah.
And then he was like,
he picks
or something, right?
She picks bacteria. Yeah. So she goes bacteria. He goes life.
The universe.
Life.
Yeah, the universe.
And then she goes anti-life, which is nothingness, and they did a good job of showing it on him.
Yes.
When something happened.
Yeah.
Like when she chooses anti-life, he's like starting to shrivel up and go like grayish pale, and then she's like, there's nothing there you can choose. There's nothing left. And he's like, hope. And she's like,
And then the light comes through.
How dare
It's basically
you?
rock, paper, scissors. It's not chess.
He picked
That's what it is.
Obama.
Right. All right. So he gets his mask back. He wins.
Mm-hmm.
So now
He's
we're
looking
on
for the ruby.
episode.
He's looking for the ruby.
Yeah.
All right, episode 5.
This was such a wild episode.
Real.
Wow.
I really like this episode.
Again, this is one of those like they could have made this without the whole dream thing, and it would have been a fascinating Twilight Zone episode. They really like out. You just rip this right out, put it on my
humanity.
TV.
Yes,
right.
That's why I like it.
But
like you think it's a filler, but it's not.
Right.
So we got the guy with the ruby. Dream cannot take the ruby. Turns out he finds it, and then gets blown up. And so David Thewlis takes it, walks into a diner, and then we spend the time as he basically tells the waitress that he's sick of people lying, and he doesn't want people to lie. People shouldn't lie. As he's watching the people around him in the diner telling little lies to kind of get through their daily life.
Yeah.
And ignoring or covering what they really feel or what they're really doing. And you can see him start to squeeze. He starts to squeeze it as he's talking, and it glows and glows and basically turns off people's ability to lie. But it's not just the idea, the way it's shot, the timing, the building of tension between the characters, the allowing it to go pretty much as far as you can go on a Netflix series, which is we have sex and murder and the whole shebang.
Not just regular
all
sex,
plays out.
Gay sex.
Yes, yeah. Whoa! Oh my God!
This show's super woke now.
What is this nonsense?
Super woke. No, they really just kind of let it all hang out in this episode. At least from what other shows I've watched on comparatively.
That's what the guy,
honestly,
and that's what the guy in the kitchen said.
The violence level in this episode disturbed me more than the sex scenes in this.
Oh yeah,
so.
Definitely,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna
Especially
say I was
when they started
like,
mutilating and killing themselves near the end. Yeah,
man. So
yeah, you
evil
got to be
stuff.
prepared in watching this episode.
Yeah, for sure. But you see the power of the ruby in this episode, and why this man should not have this thing. So.
But you also see the power when he was trying to prove if everyone just said the truth instead of hiding it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really cause
he
good.
wound up damaging the world, right? At the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So.
Or that pocket of where they were.
No, apparently, I think Sandman.
Well, there were some news clips.
The whole world was ruined. Was like.
Oh, I was confused because they kept showing us the news in the background, but it only seemed to be isolated in that northeast area. It didn't show me that this was happening all over the world, unless I missed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, and eventually Dream says that the lies aren't necessarily that the lies are good, but they kind of they keep us contained, and they let us play with our desires and our what we
And
want to
dreams,
do.
and he tied it back to
Right,
dreams.
yeah.
That was
Exactly.
Well, that's what he's got to do, right? That's his job.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a fascinating episode. We could probably spend an entire hour talking about just that, but we can't do that.
No.
We're getting pretty close, and that may be the best episode. It may be number 2. It's hard to tell. The next episode.
Hang on, let's take a break. We'll take a quick break.
Let's pay some bills.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about the second half. And if we move into the second half, folks, we stop for some messages.
Yep. Thank you very much. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. And here we are, the back half of Sandman. All right. So this next episode, episode 6, which
Love
is
this
the
episode.
Sound of Her Wings, probably fighting for the best episode of the series. At least the first half of it is
Yeah.
fighting for it. That's kind
I
of what gets
agree.
me.
I agree.
You know, if you watched this episode and didn't pull at your heartstrings like in the first half, like you are not human.
The first, yeah, exactly. So in the first half, we finally get to meet who I would have assumed, if you had talked to me before I watched this, by the number of memes and fan art and interactions and all of that stuff, but who is one of the biggest characters of the series? I would have told you Death is one of the biggest characters in the series, but apparently not, because she only shows up for half an episode, which is terrible idea. So looking up, Death is played by Kirby Howell Baptiste, and she does a wonderful job. So we see Dream, and he's upset. He's sitting on a park bench feeding pigeons, and she comes over, just like a normal person, and just like has a conversation with her brother. And then she's like, "Come on, I've got stuff to do. Why don't you come with me?" And we walk through a couple of her taking souls to the afterlife, which the first one is an older man, and you're like, okay, this is fine. An old guy finally passes away. Everybody, watching TV, that's normal. But man, when she walks into that house and takes that baby,
the baby, yeah, it got real.
You're just like,
man,
wait, what? I am not ready.
The baby, and then you see off screen a mom coming in, and you hearing the mom.
But it wasn't just that. She was talking to the baby, and she was like, "That's all you get. That's it. That's your time."
Yeah, that's deep too. Good call.
Man, that was like
so yeah. So this is one of those episodes of television, of storytelling, where it's like there's no action involved. You don't need it. There's not even a lot of storytelling. It's just you're watching a process, and you're like just completely enthralled with how they're portraying this process. So, and then they get to the kid on the soccer field. She loops back to the kid on the soccer field, and when she said, like, "I'll see you later."
And it was all rough to watch. Don't forget the guy who wanted extra time to give his wife the passcode.
Oh man, I just need to give her the information. I was like, damn. Well done, episode. So well done.
Well done.
Yeah, Death. She great actress, great performance as Death there.
You know what? Honestly, like, give me a couple of episodes of her, like a Death series or something. I don't know what it would be.
But Chris, this made me pause to think back, because we're just talking about it now. When I go back and look at the show after that episode, and I look back at the episode 1 we got, I'm like, man, it feels like some years ago, like as far as writing level,
100 years
compared
ago,
to what we were getting the last 2 episodes. Like,
yeah,
it's more like, hey, you've got to set this foundation. I understand after watching it, you have to set a foundation, and sometimes that foundation's a little boring. And some shows will be like, we'll give you like a flashback instead, or they'll give you like text on the screen and a voiceover telling you what it is, which we sort of got a little bit. We got a little bit of voiceover, but I don't know. Like, you couldn't just say Dream had been captured for 100 years and this is his adventures trying to get a ship back. But there was one line, and tell me if you guys read it the same way I did, where he goes, "Just so you know, Death, they weren't gunning for me. They were trying to capture you." And she goes, I know. And she's like, "Let's keep going." And I'm like,
they couldn't go. Like, I think she's the only one out of the family that knew that he was captured. I don't think the other.
I think
Desire knew.
I think Desire knew.
No, Desire definitely knew.
Yeah.
Desire definitely knew. But
I think she knew he was missing and took opportunities, but I don't think she knew exactly what caused him to be entrapped.
All right, and now the next part of this seems a little less integral to any of this, and very much felt like
enjoyed it.
Completely wandering. Enjoyable to an extent, not as enjoyable as the first time. Anyway, so what happens is we do a little time skip back a couple hundred years to the 1400s or something like that, and we see Death again walking around with Dream, trying to tell him about humanity, get him to understand some stuff, and they hear a guy at a bar yelling, I've just decided I'm not going to die. Why do we have to die? I'm done with it. I'm not going to do it.
Ballsy.
And this,
so ballsy.
Right. And, lucky him, he just happens to have Death and Dream in the same bar. And they decide they're going to toss an experiment his way and let him live forever. And he tells the guy, his name's Hob or something. Hob Gavling.
Robert Hob Gavling.
Yeah.
Meet me back in this bar in 100 years. And he's like, who the hell are you? But sure, why not? Whatever. And
now, am I right? Death was the one that made him immortal, not Dream, right?
Yeah, Death.
Okay.
Only Death can do it, right?
Yeah.
But Death did it for Dreams, because Dream was interested in it and wanted to do the experiment.
And she wanted to prove a point. She knew that he would never change his mind about life if he had the opportunity to live longer.
Dream basically said no. Yeah, Dream basically said no. In 100 years, he's going to be begging for death. And boy, was he wrong. As we skip through every hundred years,
and that's even that story wasn't as good as the Death first half, but seeing how they interacted in each 100 years, and in that moment where he thinks like he's actually now they have a real friendship, and Dream, his pains get in a bunch, and he's like, you're no friend, blah blah blah, and then at the same time he gets captured. So when you see Robert show up in the 1980s suit and everything, and he's excited, and then he realizes that he's been stood up. I felt that, dude.
Yeah.
That again, it tugged at the heartstrings. That's friendship.
Even when they closed closed the pub, I was like, man, that really sucks that they closed that pub, right?
Yeah, there's like 600 years of history.
Hey, you got to give a shout out to costume and set design though, because those costume pieces they had were amazing.
Yes. Yep.
Some Emmys coming up for those.
Also noting that the people in the background of the pub, no matter what year it was, they were talking about the same stuff. They were talking about taxes. They were talking about
taxes,
the government.
War, government.
Well, that
is true. And then that one moment with Shakespeare. Don't forget Shakespeare, the bard himself.
Yeah. It's weird coming from a modern point of view because it all looks old to you until they go from the 1889 to 1989, right?
The industrial age, yep.
And you're like, now that's, up until then, it's like, oh, everybody's the same thing. It doesn't matter. Like, sometimes they're wearing wigs, sometimes they're not. Sometimes the guy wants to invest in slave ships. Sometimes he wants to, his family just died. All these different changes he's going through.
That is interesting. One year he's down with, feudalism and slavery. And the next year he realized, I've learned some mistakes I've made,
Overall, it was interesting. And then, like James pointed out, when you finally got some emotion from Dream, when he's like, yeah, we're friends, right? And Dream's like just taken aback that like this mere mortal could possibly. And then he just feels bad. Like he's like, I missed our meeting. Holy shit. Like I do feel bad. So let's move on to the next episode. I think that's probably the best episode of the series. It really does hit home in a lot of places. Really well done. So as we get into the last 4 episodes, we start getting a kind of an actual series of events that build on each other more than the rest of the series did, even though it slightly did. But for the most part, I think these last 4 episodes are more of a contained story, an event. So we have this character, Rose Walker, and her little brother, and their parents are fighting, blah, 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 blah. They get separated, and then we kind of jump to a point where did this all happen in episode 6 or 7?
Yes, there was a moment where hold on. No. Yes, Rose was friends with the girl in the cafe who had just broken up with her girlfriend. So we get to see her on the phone trying to console her for a little bit, and then we just think she's like a side character, and then shockingly she comes back.
Oh, okay. So Rose is kind of listless in life. She doesn't have a job. She just has an apartment. She's run out of money, and then she gets an offer to tell. Like her mom was going to get off like a book deal to tell her story to a, I don't know, like a magazine or something. But her mom passes, so she gets flown out to England to tell her mom's story about who she is. But we also learn that she cannot hire a private investigator to find her long lost brother.
Yeah, she came from a broken home too. That's a little tidbit that plays into a bigger picture when you realize.
Yeah, we saw that earlier.
Family had split. Yeah.
Yeah, she went with her mom. Her dad took the brother, and so this is kind of a setup episode of getting all these bits and pieces in place, where we meet her Unity Kincaid, which links back to episode 1, which is something we didn't really talk about, which was when Dream was captured, this disease spread throughout the world where millions of people either couldn't sleep.
The sleepless night, whatever it's called. Yeah.
She is actually the grandmother of Rose and her lost brother, which I don't remember his name.
Yeah, great grandma.
So now all of a sudden but you're like, weren't you asleep for all those years? There's something creepy about that. Anyway. So we'll get into how creepy it is later, because we're going to run into Desire. And so we're just kind of building the life of Rose Walker, who she is, and the people around her as she goes looking for her brother, and she meets like the weirdo. I don't want to say weirdos. That's bad. She makes the eclectic group in Florida.
Right.
Like this kind of interesting found family as she's looking for her brother. Is there anything specifically? Oh, this is also where we see Merv Pumpkinhead and a little bit more of the
played by Mark Hamill, voiced by Mark Hamill.
Right.
Who told Patton Oswalt, "Hold my beer."
Yes. So we get a little bit more of the dream world. We get a little bit more that there's more than just the nightmare missing. There's other entities that have not returned to the dream realm, and that kind of
correct.
Which all kind of build on each other. So this is very much another foundational episode for our final 3 episodes of the season. Is there anything special or big you guys wanted to hop out, or do we want to just?
Is this the serial convention episode? Yes, right?
No.
Yeah, right before it. It's right before it.
Oh, okay, right.
No, we got one more episode.
Yeah, so this moment to me, I'll be honest, was a little bit of a downturn.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still world building, we're introducing new characters, but then I felt like the great plot and story that I was getting before was getting watered down with too much of other tertiary characters getting moments to shine. And this is the moment I feel like, this is where I felt like this is where the filler of the series came in. Like they didn't want to end it at 9 episodes or 8. They wanted to push it to 10. So they started giving us all this.
I think because there are so many characters, you need an episode like this.
Honestly, I'll be honest with you. The entire household, family, Aaron B, it really took me away from what I loved so much up until that moment. I'm thinking the writers are just trying to show Rose having empathy and connection to other people, where she gets to Super Saiyan in the last episode. It's because of these people she's in dreams that she's interacting with. We could have done it a different way, I think. Maybe with just her brother and less of that group. So yeah, I'm ready to talk about the serial convention.
Right. Well, before we do that, let's talk about
serial convention, no cereal. Funniest line.
Where are all the kids?
What Rose?
That's some great humor in those last 2 episodes. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, we just have to talk about what Rose is. That she is a vortex, apparently, which is
Right.
basically she has the ability to go in and out and move between dreams. She can go in and out of the dream well.
Were they afraid that and Marvel was going to sue them? They used Nexus, like Wanda or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, every time they kept calling her a vortex, I laughed. I'm like, why is he using? And then they showed you the actual vortex.
Actual vortex.
I'm like,
Right.
that is cheesy. DC. This is the
mean,
fingerprints of DC on this.
The whole idea that like every 100 years this kind of vortex happens and has to be destroyed was kind of a weird little setup for this whole thing. But I mean, we got something interesting out of it. But I don't know. The whole idea is a bit weird to me. But all right, let's move on. So we find out the brother is being held basically for his monthly checks. He's being abused. The sister's looking for him. The Corinthian decides that the Corinthian finds out that she's a vortex, and that with the vortex he can finally destroy Dream, and she can also by making dreams come true. Like, I'm trying to figure out whether he was trying to make all the dreams come true or he was trying to suck all the dreams in. Did you guys understand that plan by the Corinthian? What he was trying to do? Why he drew the vortex into the serial killer convention, which happens in episode 9.
The overarching
ahead,
thing
Mike.
was Corinthian wanted to take over Dream. So
He wanted to be free from.
So the way to do that
I don't
is
think he wants to take
destroy.
over.
Right, yeah, he wanted to be free from Dream's grip. So the way to do that is you get Vortex to destroy the Dream Realm. So that was the plan.
Because then he was vulnerable. He would kill him.
But doesn't that destroy everything? Like, I'm confused.
I would think,
like, doesn't that
but
just, like,
it's not really explained.
Yeah, I would think, but it sounded like only a very few people knew what the final outcome of the vortex would be, and it was really just the Endless folks and then the librarian, and then Patton Oswalt because he was hanging out with them the whole time. So I don't think Corinthian or anyone else below that knew the impact of the vortex.
Exactly what would happen. Okay, so he just knows it can
because he was trying to tell her. Remember when the two of them were arguing with her, and he's saying this was going to happen, and Corinthian was trying to rebuke that. So I don't think he really believed that was the outcome. He thought it was just lies.
All right.
To control him.
So yeah, so we go through 2 episodes of setting up Rose walking through Dream. Rose dreams around Rose coming true. Rose trying to find her brother, the Corinthian getting her brother to draw her to finally our kind of grand finale couple of episodes here, and that's where the Corinthian gets invited to be the guest speaker at a serial killer convention, and by grabbing Rose's brother Jed, draws Rose there as the vortex, knowing it will bring Dream there, and somehow that will either kill Dream or hurt Dream or whatever he was trying to do. All right, so let's talk about the serial killer convention. It is amazingly a fun romp as you meet these weird characters, and they all have different plans, different ideas, and just like, this is kind of a wild setup to me. It was fun, campy, creepy, all of the C's. What did you guys think?
I love that one moment. It kind of reminds me of Comic-Con when you're going from room to room and it's like different little groups, right?
The panels.
The Dungeons and Dragons group, the panels. Sorry, thank you.
Right.
The panels, and then what's his name? Who we don't know his true character yet, but he was the older Mr. Belvedere guy. That was part of that quirky family. Yeah, Fiddler's Elbow.
Green.
Which was probably the only character I cared for. Thank you, Fiddler's Green. Remind me of a bar in the city. That's Fiddler's Elbow. Anyway, Fiddler's Green. You remind me of Mr. Belvedere. He was the only character I cared for. And he was walking through each panel. I mean, only character out of that Airbnb household.
The quirky
guy. From that group that I didn't really care for. He won me over in the serial killer convention episode. before we got to know his true nature. So he's going through panel by panel, and it just gets more ridiculous and more ridiculous. And you're seeing his reaction. He was like, "Yeah, God's giving me the permission to." And I'm equating this to like real world shit. If you can actually imagine, if you went through a serial killer, some people would have these same little outbursts. I just love that part, like that entire part up until it ends with what's his name, the brother who's got to be the dumbest kid on earth, who continues to walk into the most. Yeah, that character. I could not stand that character. I don't know whether it's the script or it's the actor. He was just so annoying and got himself to the worst situations. He walked into the live convention floor with Mr. Kid, pedophile, serial killer, like
oh god,
so many different times, and I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, great concept of a serial convention and making it seem like it's actual authentic. Like this could actually happen in the U.S.
I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
just maybe a better name, like a more underground name for it.
Yeah, probably. So I'm not going to add anything to that because I think James hit it on the head. But I do want to mention two things. Jed, who was under the would you call it a spell of the nightmare that was protecting him?
Yeah, kind of.
And creating this super hero persona for him while he was dreaming.
Oh, the Sandman.
Yeah, because he was also in an abusive household.
Exactly. So she was protecting him. I thought that was cool because her character, she was trying to change.
Yeah, that was cool for her character.
Yeah,
I did like.
So I want to give a shout out to that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we skipped over that episode, but that was probably the most important part of that.
Yeah, and then Stephen Fry, who played Gilbert, the character we were talking about just now, the one
Riddler
scene,
screen,
yeah, there was he was interesting because his introduction wasn't at the convention, but at the bar when Rose was about to be attacked, and he came in to defend her
with his little saber, umbrella.
So I was like, who is this guy, right? So and then we find out who he is. So
all right, so let's get to the last kind of finale here, and as Mike mentioned, a character we didn't unfortunately talk about that we probably should have was the shapeshifter, who she said she didn't want to be a nightmare anymore, and Dream at first basically punishes her for being out of line, not doing her job, whatever, and saying that we can't change. And as we end the series, and a little bit of Deus Ex Machina here, the grandmother is like, oh no, I could just do that. Like, you don't have to die. It's fine. Like, I'm good. I'll take it. You can destroy it. Like, that's a little convenient. Dream kind of starts to come around on humanity and people's ability to change and help each other and whatnot. So before we get to Desire, which is the last thing we're going to talk about, what did you guys think of the scene where he's like telling the librarian, "Thank you. You do a lot more in here, and I should be more grateful." And oh yeah, by the way, here's the you get butterfly wings now to the morphling or whatever they call her. You know,
what's her name? The San Francisco former chief of staff under Obama.
Who, Pelosi? No.
Pelosi.
Oh.
Pelosi clap right there.
Oh, the clap, yeah.
That's exactly what I was doing during his little moment of growth.
I mean, it was cool. It was very cool looking, for sure. Like,
yeah, for everyone else.
Yeah.
For him, still an emo.
Yeah. So, yeah, whatever. Like,
yeah, it was kind of a like, all right, everybody's happy-go-lucky now at the end. But the most interesting way it ended, but it's also very confusing because it didn't really come up enough throughout the series, was he goes down and he confronts his other sibling, Desire, who apparently set up this entire, who fathered the child with unity.
Yeah.
fathered the vortex. But like, it's weird because like they just like say something at the end, and you're supposed to be like, oh shit, I can't believe like they set no threads, they set none of this up. It
I
didn't
mean,
feel like
there was the moment that introduced her. So after he had saved the cafe in the town from the Ruby guy, it was almost like a post credit scene. They introduced her, and she's like, let the games begin type of bullshit, like whatever she said.
But
so
like,
you knew she was a character of point. But to your point, no pun intended, we didn't know it would take this long to realize what the game plan was from the beginning.
Yeah, I really wish they had sprinkled him throughout the
and
season.
Maybe some comics too. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll tell you if Desire lands a little bit more throughout. But
I thought they were
also
cool pairing
like
with Desire and Despair. They were cool, like a little team up.
Yeah,
what wickedness can we do, right? So,
like almost like the Thanos after credit scene. Like if you had given me like after credit scenes in each like three or four episodes or almost
you're praising for a lot there. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it just feels like that's important. If Desire is this character that is setting up to try to destroy their sibling, why is it feel like it's tacked on at the end?
That's true. It did feel a little tacked on. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just gonna say, before we move on, I wanted to mention the one other character, Rose's neighbor, and the cool concept of her living in a dream and her husband who died as a ghost escaped, moving to the afterlife and went into the dream realm. I thought that whole thing was such a cool concept, and then her getting pregnant in the dream and then coming into real life,
and then of course Dream being a little baby. It's technically it's mine. I'll come for it when I'm ready.
Yeah, and he was like, "I'll come for it eventually." I was like, "Damn!"
It's a little Goblin King esque there.
Yeah,
ghost baby.
Yeah.
So that's I don't have much more to say about Desire.
Let's do.
But hold on, Lucifer. There was one last scene, and I was going back.
Oh
to
yeah,
Lucifer.
I forgot about it. Yeah,
and then how I think some other super powerful demon who looks like I've seen him somewhere in the comics with all the many faces. Maybe it's DC animated movie, whatever it was. I never checked the Easter egg for that. I should do that tonight. He says, we already, you've been embarrassed. We should attack, the Endless Ones. And she's like, yeah, all right. You guys want to do that? Let's do it. And then she goes out and like all the demons like, yeah, MAGA people. That to me tells me, besides just Desire, Lucifer has machinations for season 2 that should be interesting because she wants to prove God. Even God will wince.
A lot of cool vision of locations, places, concepts overall. I had trouble with the wishy-washy narrative in and out from cool episodes with high concept to just we've got to chase this thing and there's a vortex that's going to kill everybody. Like it was, and it may be like the story originally, it may not, but I'm glad it was all on there for me to watch through, because if it was a week to week, I might have somewhat lost interest here and there at a couple of times. So I'm going to give this thing, I'm going to go a solid B is where I'm going to grade it. I'm going to let Mike go next on your final thoughts.
So this one for me, I was actually very impressed, more impressed than what I saw in the trailers and stuff, right? So I knew I was going to watch it, but I didn't realize how much I would enjoy this show. I'm going to go ahead and give it an A-.
I'm going to split the difference of you two, and I didn't plan this. B+. I think some of the last couple episodes with that whole Airbnb group dragged it from an A- for me. But B+.
Yeah, I wish like the vortex thing just felt especially the ending when it was like,
And then
oh,
Grandma made the sacrifice for her. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt it just felt convenient a lot. Like I would rather like the kid. Oh well, you get to live with your grandmother, and we get this kind of grand sacrifice from the sisters. I don't know. I'm not going to correct Neil Gaiman in any shape, manner, or form. It felt a little convenient as the storytelling. It happens, whatever. You're trying for something else, but I felt like I should grade it higher. But I actually liked Good Omens better than this series.
I haven't seen that one.
Personally, I like Good Omens. It's a good series.
You didn't watch Good Omens?
No, I've heard good things about it.
Go watch that. It's got Michael Sheen.
Hold on, maybe I've seen the first
David
season. Remember Catherine was out. Yeah, I think I might have seen the first season.
Yeah, it's only like 6 episodes, but it's amazing. I really love that.
And that one is it's so heavily built on those two characters and their interactions that it like doesn't have the chance to wander around to different narratives, and I really like that. Even if I like the other narratives a lot, if you wander, I'm not going to give you high grades for it. It's just what's bugging me. All right, that's it. I think that's all we want to talk about. And if anybody wants to tell us about your ideas about the Sandman, if you want to correct Neil Gaiman's writing, if you feel good enough about that, please don't do that. If you want to tell us what you think, what your
black
grades
female
are,
playing death.
That's right. Yeah. If you want to complain about not enough cishet white men on screen, you come over and don't do that on our page.
Oh no!
All right, everybody. Mike.
I will reply. Don't worry.
Yes, Mike is more than happy to reply to you.
Bring it. That's all.
Oh please! don't muddy our beautiful page.
All right, Mike. Where can people find us and save their MAGA comments?
So speaking of that, for you toxic guys who want to fight me online, you can reach us at Heroes Peak, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So go ahead and leave those comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell in the corner to get notifications of our new episodes.
Awesome!
Please
Thank
share.
You very much, guys.
Share this. Please share this clip with your friends who may or may not like it.
You go to the KKK meeting, you share this and go, these are the guys who think, we're toxic. That's it. End of story.
Right.
On that note, I will not endorse that.
All right. I'll see you guys next week.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good evening to everyone but the Asians.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Because it's morning over there. Good morning to
I know what you meant.
Okay.
Just did not come off well.
Good night.
Hey, Indigo made the beat.